Welcome to a very powerful full moon weekend. On September the 7th, we have a full moon in the sign of Pisces, and this full moon is also going to be a total lunar eclipse, which is a very powerful time to eclipse things out of our lives. This is a very powerful time to eclipse things into our lives, take on new routines, switch up routines, adopt fresh new perspectives, move in a new direction, clear things out of our lives, both physically, emotionally. Anything that's tangible or even intangible at this time is on the table. There's a very revelatory energy with this full moon, I feel, and it really is bringing us to a bit of a breaking point. And a breaking point in a good way. So there's something called positive disintegration, and this was a theory that was created by a psychologist. His name was Kazimierz Dabrowski. Now this guy says, based on many, many hours of working with patients, personal growth occurs through a process of disintegration or breakdown of one's current self, leading to a more integrated, authentic, and values-driven personality. Rather than avoiding psychological tension, anxiety, and crises, the theory suggests these difficult internal states act as a catalyst, propelling individuals toward higher levels of self-awareness, autonomy, and fulfillment. People with strong developmental potential and sensitivity, such as those with overexcitability, are more likely to undergo this process. So in other words, any type of breakdown that you are experiencing at this time, whether that's emotional, mental, physical, financial, relational, is a necessary component of the change that you are going to experience afterwards. It is the catalyst to the change. When I first came across this positive disintegration theory, it really, really clicked with me. And it clicked with me because this is definitely a process that I've moved through repeatedly. It is a process I have witnessed many, many of my clients move through repeatedly. And I feel like every single year when we hit eclipse season, it really allows us to move through this disintegration process. Like eclipses initiate these disintegration processes within us. And it can be very challenging in a way because it is putting us through the ringer in a way. Like it forces you to face challenges within yourself and face limitations, restrictions, places within your mind where you're holding yourself back. So it's serving a really, really big purpose. So as we move through this weekend, as you move through this entire month, remind yourself that anything that comes up, anything that is causing you anxiety right now in this moment in your life, anything that is causing you to feel unsure, to feel unsafe, to feel insecure within yourself or within your life at this time, that's all a sign of this disintegration that's taking place. That's all a sign that there are certain limitations that you need to leave behind. There are mindsets, there are attitudes, there are ways of thinking, ways of behaving that you need to leave behind so that you can emerge into this higher version of yourself, so that you can become less restricted, less confined, less like I'm seeing a little box. It's like bursting out of the box, allowing yourself to be bigger, grander, I'm hearing. And I'm not talking about like an ego grandness. I'm talking about like a spiritual grandness where there is this refined, more stable, more energetically aligned, more vibrationally high frequency version of yourself that just makes different choices and takes the types of actions that really, really align you with a higher path. And I want to talk about the butterfly effect. I want to talk about the cocooning effect. This is, again, something that I've witnessed multiple times in my own life. It's something that I see within my clients' lives all the time. So the whole cocoon that the caterpillar weaves around itself and then turns into mush, basically completely breaks down and then re-establishes itself, it repieces itself, recreates itself, rebirths itself, happens multiple times in our lives, multiple times. It can happen literally several times a month, definitely several times a year, depending on, your level of consciousness and where you're at on your journey at this time. Like you are going to have many, many cycles of moving through this breakdown, rebirth. And it's like eclipse season just highlights that. Eclipse season just brings that to the forefront. It's like, where again could you tweak a little bit more? Where again could you become more self-sufficient? Could you become more in your power? Act more in integrity? with the values that you currently hold. I feel like because we're moving through such a transformative weekend and such a transformative month, I also would like to actually remind you here that we are in September. September is a 9, right? It is the 9th month of the year. And we are also in a universal year 9 as 2025. 2025 adds up to a 9. So because we're in a double 9 energy actually right now in this month, this means that this is like major completions, major endings, major new beginnings, right? And the new beginnings, a lot of them I think are going to start really pouring in and maybe showing up more tangibly, more physically in October, as October is a 10 broken down is a 1 energetically, right? So I feel like the more that you can release in the month of September, the more that you can change and shift in a positive direction this month is going to very seriously set the tone for the next 6 months of your journey. Because even though eclipse season is really only 2 months, right? It's going to be in the month of September and October when we have our eclipses. First, we have the lunar eclipse, then we have the solar eclipse. But between these 2 eclipses, I feel like it is going to be made very clear, very obvious to us, all of the ways in which we are beginning anew, all of the ways in which we are ending things. So with this full moon being in the sign of Pisces, and Pisces being such an emotional sign, it is such a deeply intuitive, spiritual sign, this is definitely a call for us to connect to our inner world, right? This is a full moon in Pisces. That means, can you move into the fullness of your spirituality? Can you move into the fullness of your emotions? Can you allow yourself to feel the fullness of your emotions? Can you allow yourself to discover the depth within yourself? That the depth that maybe you don't want to look at, the depth that is perhaps uncomfortable because it reveals something darker. You know, again, the fish swim in 2 directions and one swims down. And the fish that swims down really represents our ego, our lower self, right? Our more primal, basic self, right? And so this to me feels like it's like a combination of connecting with the higher self while also taking the journey down into the lower self. And I feel like maybe even in the last week of August, I think many of us were doing this. I know I certainly was. I was moving through another period of like the butterfly moving through the cocoon, turning into mush, and then coming out the other side as a butterfly, as an elevated higher version of myself. It's like every single time we go through these cycles, every single time we are releasing more and more of what we are not and connecting deeper and deeper to what we truly are, Pisces, the spiritual, the light essence, the God frequency that is within us, right? That spark of God that we are, that every single one of us is. The more that we are connected to that, the more that we are going to live in our authenticity, the more that we are going to align with a life that truly fulfills us, the more that we are going to connect with people that are a part of our soul tribe, people that are going to help us get to where we need to go, and people that we can also help and nurture along the way. So the upheavals that are brought on by any challenges that you're experiencing right now, any anxiety, any stress that you're feeling perhaps at this time, really use that to your advantage and really look at it from this perspective of like, I need to feel this. I need to experience this. I need to go through this so that I can make a better choice, so that I can do something differently, so that I can show up differently. I will often remind myself that when I'm going through a really difficult period or something that I'm really stressing about or just really contracting, like really stuck in a certain level of limitation, I'll remind myself that it's like God speaking to me or something, and I hear, I had to make you uncomfortable or you would never have moved. So it's like this message from Spirit that I feel is like, okay, Spirit, I hear you. I get it. I see it. I see the discomfort. I see why it's necessary. I see that it is pushing me to do something greater. I see that it is pushing me to become a higher expression of myself. I see that this anxiety or that this stress or that this change or that this new thing is pushing me to step outside of my comfort zone. There's a huge emphasis on comfort zone with this eclipse. There's a massive, it's a full moon. It is a completion, right? Can you complete a certain cycle with your comfort zone? Can you finally give up certain aspects of your comfort zone and step into a wider circle? It's like expand it, push the boundaries and push yourself out of that comfort zone so that you can experience what's beyond it, so that you can experience growth within yourself. And because this is the sign of Pisces, there could be a significant tug of war that you are feeling within yourself. You could be feeling like your ego and your higher self kind of battling it out during this time under this very intense energy, because the comfort zone is the ego, right? Is the ego is attached to it. So it's going to pull and pull and pull on you until you reach that breaking point where you're just like, enough. I can't stand this comfort zone. I hate it. It doesn't feel good. I don't like being here. Nothing ever changes. Nothing ever happens. So it's like, if you want to shut the tug of war down, you're going to need to silence yourself. You're going to need to go quiet. You're going to need to reflect inward. You're going to need to go inward. You're going to need to spend some time with yourself this weekend. And I highly, highly recommend that you do a fire ritual this weekend for the eclipse. And a fire ritual simply is you writing down a list of all of the things that you are ready to release right now, all of the things that you are done with, whether this is mindsets, people, work, poverty mindset, financial issues, debt, self-sabotage, the constant undermining of yourself, like all of the things that really, really bother you and that you've been wanting to change for a really long time, but perhaps we're having a very difficult time with that change. This is the time. And when you do a simple fire ritual, so you write your list, you write all the things down that you want to release and you want to let go and that you're just done with, all the cycles, and name them specifically. Name a cycle. If you have a specific cycle that you spin in repeatedly, name that cycle. And it could be something as simple as, I have a tendency to spin in a cycle of self-doubt every single time that my comfort zone is challenged. Right? So write it down. Write a specific list of everything that you are done with. Begin each sentence with, I now release, ... fill in the blank, whatever it is you're releasing. Then take that piece of paper and burn it, and burn every last inch of it. So make sure the entire sheet turns into ash. And this simple little fire ritual is going to help you release that. It's a very conscious way of saying to the universe, yes, universe, I'm ready to release these things. I no longer want to have these experiences. I no longer want to have these energies lingering within my energy field. And once you've done that, then you express gratitude to the universe for helping you to release all of these things and for helping you to embark on a brand new journey, for helping you to step outside of your comfort zone, try new things, experience new things. This is a very simple but very, very powerful practice. And when you do this kind of a practice under a full moon, and on top of it, when that full moon is also a total lunar eclipse, that means that you are totally done with these energies and that you are truly consciously choosing to elevate, choosing to move to a higher timeline, choosing to be a more authentic, more sovereign, more powerful, more independent, more healthy, more beautiful, more whatever version of yourself. And the last thing I want to talk about, which is what I wrote down in significantly more detail in the newsletter that I just sent out, but I'll just give you sort of the gist of it, was 4 ways that you can work with this full moon total lunar eclipse. Number 1 is command your attention. Get very, very clear with where you are putting your energy. Take a look at all of the different ways in which you are wasting your energy, because you are given a certain amount of energy for every single day. And so when you spend a lot of time on social media, or when you're spending a lot of time like watching TV or the news, or doing things that are very external to you, because remember, this full moon is in Pisces and Pisces is internal, right? So when you're spending a lot of time doing external things, you're spending energy, you're paying attention. Why do we say that we pay attention? Because you are paying a currency with your attention. You are paying a fee. The fee is your energy. So you are literally giving your energy to something or someone else when you are focusing externally to yourself, when you are focusing on things outside of you. And so this Pisces lunar eclipse is asking you to reflect inward. Can you go inward? Can you take back control of how you use your energy, how you spend your energy, what you pay attention to? Because if you pay attention to the doubtful thoughts within your mind, if you're paying attention to what other people are doing or what other people might be thinking of you or of your life or how you're living, or, like listening to other people's opinions and stuff, then you're really, really going to miss out on all of the powerful ways in which you actually could have invested that energy, in which you could have invested that time. The second way to connect with this powerful lunar eclipse energy is to connect to an exciting vision, something that really truly excites you. So in the first part, you're drawing back your energy. You're getting very, very clear, first of all, on how you're spending that energy. Then you're going to get very, very clear on the new thing that you would like to invest it in instead. I actually went and deleted a couple of apps off of my phone. I'm really, really strongly considering deleting YouTube off my phone for at least the month of September. Just kind of challenge myself to get rid of the YouTube app altogether on my phone, just to remove distractions so that I can really spend this month focused and deeply connecting to an exciting vision that I already have for my life. So this is something that you can do as well if you feel called to. Listen to your own intuition on that. But I very, very strongly recommend that you use meditation and that you use silence to actually connect to this vision within yourself. And I would do this very first thing in the morning as soon as you wake up. Minimum 15 minutes. If you can do it for longer, great. But if not, at least 15 minutes. So set aside 15 minutes. If that means you got to get up 15 minutes earlier, then do that. To create this vision, to be in it, to live it, to feel it, to experience it. Because this is going to really deeply rewire and reconstruct your subconscious mind and really help you step into that new version of yourself who has a significantly more expanded comfort zone. The third way to work with this energy is to surrender the old mind. So it's like you have to completely surrender and let go of those old ways of thinking. So Pisces is reminding us of our duality, but is also saying to you, can you use your spiritual power to overcome the lower self, the lower fish, right? The one that wants to swim down and keep pulling you under. Can you overcome and override that? Yeah, you absolutely can, because you have the power to do so, and all you have to do is choose. So this eclipse says you're going to have to do whatever it takes to release and to surrender the old mind, because the old mind is the only thing that's holding you back. It is the only thing that's keeping you hostage still and deeply tethered to your old life. And when it comes to surrendering the old mind, I just want to point out here that Saturn actually just moved back into Pisces, 29th degree of Pisces, very last degree of the very last sign of the zodiac on September the 1st. This means that to surrender the old mind, to become the embodied version of the new you that you are creating, the new version of yourself, you are going to have to put in the hard work, Saturn, to dissolve, disintegrate, and completely break down that old identity. And the fourth and final way to work with this energy is to build momentum through aligned action. So while Saturn here is telling us that we need to do the hard work, this hard work actually can be simplified, it can be hacked and made more easy through small daily action steps that are going to begin building momentum. This daily action is going to put you into energetic alignment with the new version of yourself that you're creating more and more every single day and in a more effortless way. So it doesn't have to be actually hard for us to change ourselves. It just requires dedication. It requires the discipline, and it requires constant daily action, right? That is what creates momentum. The train does not take off from the train station by standing still. Right? It starts chug, 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 and then it keeps moving. I know the trains nowadays don't work that way, but in my mind, I see it as an old train. And as the wheels begin to turn, they start to turn faster and faster and faster, building up momentum. Because right now, Saturn is coming in and it's giving like this sort of harsh, but very loving reality check. And it's saying, fuck your mood, stick to the plan. Because if you really want to transform your life over the next 6 months, especially in the month of September, you're going to have to keep showing up. Saturn isn't saying kill yourself to show up. It isn't saying work yourself to the bone. It's saying work smarter, not harder, but keep showing up. Not from force, not from fear, but from a deep knowing that you have now arrived at a point in your life where you have a much bigger capacity to build a bigger container for yourself. That what you are really committing to is honoring your worth and creating a life for yourself that you really truly love. A life that is soul-led and orchestrated and co-created with spirit. So these were the messages that were coming through under this very powerful eclipse energy. We're already under the full moon energy because it's happening in a couple of days, right? There's always a few days leading up to it and a few days afterwards. But like I said, this energy is rippling out for the next 6 months of your life. So get very, very clear on what it is that you want to change, what it is that you're ready to change, what it is that you're ready to go all in on, because This is going to be a monumental expansion I'm seeing, and it's going to be a monumental jump in your life experience. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, hit a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. If you feel called to work with me, you can book an intuitive coaching session using the link in the description box. You can also sign up for the Aligned Living newsletter down there, join my community on Instagram, or support the channel through a small donation. Thank you so much for being present, for being here. I wish you nothing but the best under this beautiful total lunar eclipse full moon energy, and I'll talk to you again very soon.